Welcome to Reykjavík Grapevine Newscast. My name is Valur Grettisson. I'm an editor-in-chief at Reykjavík Grapevine magazine. And this is of course Polly, my chief of morale officers, and a very fine one also. We're back to Reykjavík. We've been a little bit in the other reality of the volcano in Iceland, in Geldingadalur. I'm going to go a little bit into that later on, but there's been a lot of things happening in Reykjavík. And before we get into it, I just wanted to remind you, of course, of our sponsors, which is Einstök Beer. You can find them at einstökbeer.com. I love them, very good beers. It's Easter, so I'm drinking a lot of it also over the Easter. Also remember our online shop, of course. You can get this, for example. It's a fantastic parka. It's like minus 6 degrees outside now. I'm also going to talk about the weather. It's very warm actually. This winter has been incredibly warm. But the beginning will be, well, there was also a murder in Reykjavik. The second one, which is statistically we're done with murder this year. So it's a little bit shocking. You can see the police station right here. It's quite something to see, right? It's very notorious. Oh, I'm joking. Of course, this here is the police station. But let's go into the news. What happened is that on I think you call it the Good Friday or the Long Friday. We call it Föstudagur langi or the Long Friday. It's the longest Friday of them all. It's when Jesus was crucified. The Christian people know everything about it. The Jewish people not so much, like Hannah Jane Cohen. But there was this 31-year-old man that was found in front of his house. It was Icelandic, and he was severely beaten up, or it appears to be like that. The police came and they arrested 3 people. None of them were born in Iceland. I think one was an Icelandic citizen, and he was in the end he's in custody right now because of this. What they think is that he drove his car at this man. And his lawyer said actually in an interview with RÚV that this was that he was completely miserable over this, and he said that this was an accident. But the police is not so sure about it. There are not a lot of details about this. But what happened is that Icelanders, because they heard first of all that the one that was arrested, he's from Romania, and they were afraid that this was a continue of this odd murder earlier this year when a young man, also around his 30s, was killed, shot 9 times in front of his home in what we think is some kind of a gang war in Iceland. This is not related. Nobody really knows what happened here, but it's clear that the man that was killed, he was found and he died the day after from his complication from his wounds. Of course, this is like an absolutely horrible situation. Icelanders have like 1 to 2 murders per year. It's not often that we go over 2 murders every year. It happens sometimes, of course, but it's a very peaceful country, so we are quite lucky when it comes to this. So it's a little bit shocking actually to see that there have been 2 murders, odd murders also in the first 3 or 4 months of the year. So it is what it is. So I have to go to the weather. It's minus 6 degrees now. It's a little bit cold. Not that much though. It's no wind. This Easter was very cold. I think it was like a piercing cold actually. We went down to like minus 15, 20 degrees over the Easter because of the very cold wind. But what we know now is that the Met Office, they said there hasn't been so little snow in Reykjavik since 1977. This is the warmest winter for over 40 years. We often talked about this in the newscast, how like odd the weather is, and it truly is. To be honest, we feel it, and we can see it. Just to tell you like how it was, for example, the average heat in March was 2.3 degrees, which is 1.2 degrees over the average. Like, and when I talk about the average, it's from like 1990 to 2020. We only had 9 white days, meaning 9 days were like with snow. We usually have like, that is like, we have around 38 days, like almost like 1.5 months every time. So this is like, it's weird. It's like, it's nice of course, but it's like, it's not much of a weather though. We like our weather in a way. So it's, it could be worse, could be better. We don't know why this is. I mean, people could perhaps like make their case that this is global warming, but it doesn't have to be, because it's just one winter and sometimes it goes up and sometimes it goes down. And it is what it is. But the reason we're here actually, and this is pretty incredible place actually. This hotel here is the most notorious hotel in Iceland right now. And this is what we call the quarantine hotel. Right now there are around 216 people. There were at least this Easter, 216 people in this hotel. The reason they're here is more or less because we changed the rules. The epidemiologist, Þórólfur Guðnason, as well as the Ministry of Health, they changed the rules that when you came to Iceland, you have to quarantine in a hotel for 5 days between the tests. Before that, we actually had like you could go home and quarantine for 5 days, but what was happening is that not everybody was honoring this system, and there has been a very strong like trust system in Iceland, meaning that you could basically come to Iceland, and we just trusted that you would not go outside. This was broken many times, of course. Often just because people didn't know better, and often just because people, well, just wanted to do something else than just hang out around at home. So this was like, we didn't perhaps find many because of this, but this is what we did. So, enough was enough when the British strain came to Iceland. And the British strain is very, it passes around very quickly, like notoriously quickly, meaning that the 4th wave was on its way. So they did this. And what's perhaps most interesting about it is that the lawyers now, for the first time in Iceland at least, are saying this is not legal. So we have here 16 people that are perhaps there and without any legal grounds, which is quite a serious thing. All of the people that come here, they have to pay like 10,000 Icelandic krona per night. And it's 5 nights always, so it's 50,000. And it doesn't really matter if it's 1 person or 10 in the room, you always just pay this 10,000. So there are 12 people in 5 different cases that have want to try out this legality of this. And this has to be made very quick. So this Easter was more or less like a court drama in the media in Iceland, meaning that lawyers were working on getting these cases in court, because they have to be in quarantine when this happens, because when they're out, then the cases will just be dismissed, because it doesn't really matter for them anymore. And it's quite interesting, and the lawyers, they definitely have a case here, because the rules, the laws about this are not perhaps the strongest ones. You can perhaps see here, here's some people talking to someone in quarantine. People are trying to get some kind of people to talk to or whatever. And there was a problem actually that people were going between rooms and so on, and they were not allowed to. This was very serious. They can get alcohol and food and whatnot to the rooms if they want to. Because they can't go out, of course, at all. So what we're doing now is that we're waiting for these cases to go through. We don't know exactly when it will happen, but we know that this will come today most likely. meaning our top epidemiologist, Þórólfur Guðnason, he says that if this will be, if the judges say this is illegal, then like all of their efforts are illegal, which is interesting because I'm not even sure if that makes sense at all. It's a little bit dramatic. I mean, the trust system has been quite fine, actually. So, oh, it's very frozen earth here. She's just not getting it, okay? So we're kind of waiting for this, but the situations for people are very different. Some of these people said that, like one person said that she only lives like 10 minutes away from here. This is downtown. And she said that, like, what's the difference if I quarantine there or here? And well, Icelanders, they're split in half with this. They say, okay, does it really matter? You're at like a luxury hotel, although you can't go anywhere, but you always have to quarantine for 5 days. Lawyer says you have to have some, like, you have to have some basic human rights here, like be able to go outside. But like you can see, there are no balconies or anything in these hotels. So people are completely stuck inside for 5 days. But if I would, for example, quarantine at home, it means that I could go out, have a walk, meet Artbjörni, no, not really, but I could actually go out and have a walk with Polly, you know. And this is more important than perhaps you think. In some countries, actually, you have, of course, way harsher restrictions than we have in Iceland. So you're probably very sympathetic when it comes to this. But the situation is basically that I have a sympathy, of course, for these people. You have like young parents with 3-month-old kid, and they want to be able to go outside and have a walk. I mean, naturally so. It's probably quite hard. But then again, it's a luxury hotel, and Icelanders are very, very determined to get this virus away. And we have been pretty good in this fight, and everybody has made their sacrifices. And Icelanders are also a little bit shocked, like saying, like, you kind of knew that when you're going to other countries. I mean, come on. I mean, there must be some repercussion. But of course, the situation with people is very different, and it can be often it's like people, like in one example, a woman went to her mother's funeral in another country. So it's like, yeah, it is what it is. You see. So, am I forgetting something? My phone is not working in the coldness. What? Yeah, it's so cold that my phone is out. What was I going to talk about? Volcano, yes. The volcano, it was cold. A lot of people were actually going to the volcano this weekend. Well, tried at least. On like, what was it? On Easter Day, people had like chocolate eggs in their backpacks, and they were going to spend their Easter there. But the northern wind was so strong, and it was like minus 20, 30 or something. So a lot of people actually gave up. And the search and rescue team said, like, this is it. We really do not want to do this anymore. So what they decided is, like they are thinking about it right now, is basically just to stop this. Like not perhaps closing off the mountains, but stop having such a huge surveillance over there. Because it takes a lot of manpower, just a lot of power from people, like and energy. So perhaps after the Easter, this will be a very different situation. So if you get into a situation in like going to see the volcano, perhaps you will not be that lucky that you can, I don't know, like perhaps you have to wait an extra hour for a rescue if you get into trouble. I don't know. There's an interesting area here. I haven't walked here actually before, but there's an excellent bar here called Björgarðurinn, or the Beer Garden. It was nice before COVID. I have no idea how it's been since then. But this is kind of it. The volcano is still going on, of course. We'll visit that again. It's probably going to fill the valley within like in a week or so, week and a half. So it means that it will be very different when we come back there. Perhaps it would have filled everything. The magma also there is, there was actually a chunk of magma that just disappeared. The scientists are still trying to find out where it went. It just went under the lava and is somewhere there. And it was quite the chunk, so it should turn up somewhere. They are just afraid that it could harm people around and come out unexpectedly. But it's a dangerous area, so just be on your lookout if you go there. This is, the most notorious hotel of them all. You do not want to be in there because this is almost like being in isolation in a prison or something like that. But yeah, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, of course, if you like this material. And remember our homepage, grapevine.is, and also remember covid.is. If you have any questions about COVID or how to come here, because a lot of these rules are changing quite rapidly right now, and I haven't told you about all of these changes because not all of them actually matters, but for you at least. So if you come to Iceland, please go and check that out. And if you want, of course, like all of this news, you can go to grapevine.is. Okay, there's a breaking. We have to tell you this. You know when my phone actually went out of battery, that was the moment that there was a new fraction coming up near the volcano. Everybody was texting me and the coldness and everything. So while I was talking about the hotel, there was a new volcano basically, very close to the original one in Geldingadalur. It's the same fracture, so it's part of the same volcano. But the difference is that it's like 400 or 500 meters away. So if you look at the camera from the roof, it's a live feed from there, and Astrid is going to show you now. You can see it on the left hand, on the right hand, there is the original volcano, so it's only like 400 meters between, or 500. Also, you can see like from our former videos, when we were there in the night, we were just perhaps a couple of 100 meters away from this new fracture. We called the civil guard because of this, and their spokesperson told us that no media or anyone is allowed to the area right now. Not even the scientists have been able to go there yet because this just happened. There was a pilot who was flying over, and he accidentally just saw this fracture. And there were a lot of people there actually. And the people went dangerously close to the fracture, meaning that the people, like the rescue teams, search and rescue, they had to go there and evacuate all the area. Even the Icelandic, we call it Vikingasveit, it's like Icelandic special forces. They are now going to the area and securing it and getting everybody away. What we know now is that we have two different volcanoes going on, but it's important to remember it's the same fracture, so technically it's the same volcano. At least that's how I understand it right now. There is no danger from this. It's even in a more obscure place than the first one, so there are no towns or any constructions or anything around this. The difference is perhaps that in the first volcano, Norðri and Suðri, it's like the Northi and the Southi, there's the craters. There are two of them, but this one is like a fracture with fire coming out of it. And I think they said the fracture is perhaps half a kilometer long, 500 meters. So this is quite the development. And I actually said this very early on when I was talking about the volcano before it erupted, that we could have volcanoes in different places at the same time. So this is actually happening right now. It's not impossible that they will connect in the end, but right now we have two different volcanoes in the same area. So me and Arthur, of course, are very disappointed that we cannot go to the area right now. You can't even fly a drone or anything around there because of the scientists. They have to have their space to evaluate what's happening there, meaning that we can perhaps go there tomorrow or hopefully at least at Wednesday. So we will definitely go there and show you the area. And yeah, this is quite the development. You can see all of this on our homepage, grapevine.is. You can even see the live video from there. So it's, yeah, we'll link to it. And until next time, see you then.